Oh my goodness, thank God it's Friday, and I have a great Memorial Day holiday weekend suggestion for one Donald J. Trump. Maybe this weekend, instead of going and playing golf, in this breaking story, I recommend you take some of the money we have to pay for Secret Service protection for you and put it towards your fact-checking research department. Because in this breaking story, all you continue to do when you like to talk about how everyone's laughing at America, no, Donald, the world is laughing at you. Because whether or not you choose to actually lie or whether or not you choose to just embellish every single thing you say in official meetings, it's getting to the place where you're being called out so many times it's embarrassing, and you won't believe what he just got wrong. And remember, there are people on our staff in the United States of America giving him this material to present to the world while in a meeting in the Oval Office. And I'm going to show you that breaking story in just a second. But first, take a quick look at what he recently did in his first cabinet meeting. And this is amongst officials that we don't even laugh at for being Donald Trump. Take a quick look at this.
We now see the transcript. It's available thanks to the FCC. It's not true.
Yeah, that's a good fact check, Dana. There was just so much in this cabinet meeting, so let me run through some of the big ones. We heard this claim again from the president. He's been saying it over and over in the past week that the U.S. has provided Ukraine with $350 billion worth of aid, and that this is about 3 times what Europe collectively has provided. That is not true. The $350 billion number is not true, nor is the idea that the U.S. has provided way more than Europe. So according to a think tank in Germany that closely tracks this aid, it is Europe that is collectively provided more aid to Ukraine than the U.S. has. In terms of aid committed, it's about double, about $260 billion for Europe to about $125 billion for the U.S. In terms of aid allocated, it's narrower, but Europe still leads. The president also repeated this claim he's been saying over and over that the U.S. ranks 40th out of 40 in some education rankings. I specifically asked the White House what those rankings were. They were not able to point to any of them. It appears not to exist. In fact, the U.S. Is above average in reading and science, and below average, though far from last, in math rankings, even of wealthy countries. He said the U.S. is the only country with mail-in voting. It simply isn't. He said the U.S. took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in the tariffs he imposed in the first term. In fact, Americans paid those tariffs. Americans make those tariff payments, and it's not true that Trump was the first president to impose tariffs on China. He said that we lose 300,000 people to fentanyl deaths every year. In fact, it's about 60,000 deaths per year. Still a tragedy, of course, horrible, but nowhere close to what he's saying. He said the European Union does not take American farm products. In fact, it is the 4th biggest market for U.S. agricultural exports, of $13 billion per year. He offered another alternate history of the European Union's formation, saying it was formed to take advantage of the U.S. In fact, it was formed with U.S. support, so not even close to correct.
That's just a small sampling of all of the errors and lies and BS he put in that cabinet meeting. But holy smokes, when you look at a leader of a country and tell him that there is a genocide happening, and then the pictures you hold up aren't even accurate, you have to be kidding me. And in this breaking story, that's exactly what Donald Trump and his staff did. Take a listen.
Props Trump used in Oval Office rant were embarrassingly wrong. He didn't even get the country right. An image President Donald Trump held up in the Oval Office on Wednesday as evidence of violence against white South African farmers actually showed people in an entirely different country. In a wild Oval Office meeting, Trump confronted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa with a printed image that he claimed showed burial sites all over the place in South Africa and white farmers that are being buried. But according to multiple fact checks, the image comes from a Reuters news agency clip filmed in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The president has been accusing South Africa's black-led government of being anti-white and has long entertained an unfounded narrative that a white genocide is being committed against South African farmers. That wasn't the only questionable material Trump served up during the tense meeting. According to the liberal Medas news network, another piece of paper Trump held up showed a post that came from a fringe South African Facebook account that promotes white nationalist rhetoric and flat earth conspiracy theories. The Daily Beast has not independently verified that claim. The White House did not immediately return the Daily Beast's request for comment. Ramaphosa's White House visit was widely viewed as an attempt to improve relations with the U.S., amid ongoing criticism of the country from Trump and the expulsion of the South African ambassador to the U.S. in March. Ibrahim Rasool is a race-baiting politician who hates America and hates Trump, Secretary of State Marco Rubio claimed in a post on X in March, declaring the diplomat no longer welcome in our great country. During Wednesday's meeting, Trump also had his South African counterpart sit through a video that he said at one point showed the burial grounds of white farmers. That was also misidentified by Trump, according to CNN, and actually showed symbolic crosses as part of a demonstration representing farmers who had been killed.
I mean, he's even been called out recently for using himself in front of images when he said, "Oh, Canada," about being the 51st state, and it turned out the picture was from some mountain in Switzerland or something. He does not manage to get anything right, and yet, for as much as I will certainly give Donald Trump a hard time for being a constant pathological liar, the images and things that he puts forth and pictures that he used when he was doing a map of the United States and where storms were going and using a Sharpie and all of these crazy things that he does. He has people around him that are supposed to not be as daft as he is, who actually are the people who research and pull these things up. So when they can't even get an image and a picture correct at all while sitting with the leader of a country right to his right, and he's holding up something from the Congo and discussing South Africa, this is beyond embarrassing. So Donald, just so you know, as you go into your another weekend of golf over Memorial Day down at Mar-a-Lago, just remember, America is not being laughed at by the world because of our, let's say, foreign policy reasons. We're being laughed at because of you. Keep that in mind. And get your staff to do something actually right. You guys have a good holiday weekend. Stay frosty.